Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. The Young and the Restless spoilers. Audra retaliates Kyle's price for betrayal. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Kyle Abbott, Michael Mueller, commits an act of betrayal. Kyle will tell Victor Newman, Eric Braeden, that Audra Charles, Zulika Silver, can't be trusted. This comes after Kyle had an informal chat with Audra and Nate Hastings, seen Dominic. Nate made it seem like he knew the identity of the secret investor in front of Kyle. Audra tried to cover, but it was too late. So how will Audra get back at Kyle? Keep reading and let's talk about the possibilities. I&R spoilers reveal that Audra went after Tucker McCall's Trevor Street John Company. Eventually, Audra won Glissade thanks to the help of a mysterious benefactor. Fans know that person is Victor, who coerced Kyle into working with Audra despite their rocky history. When the situation caused problems with Summer Newman, Allison Lanier, Victor's only help was work it out. Over with Nate, he hinted that he knew the identity of Audra's investor in front of Kyle. Audra tries to do damage control, but Kyle already figured it out. One of Victor's rules was that his identity was to be kept a secret. Afterward, Kyle made a phone call to Victor. Kyle told Victor that Audra can't be trusted, so Kyle probably tells Victor that Nate knows. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Kyle will probably tell Victor about Nate, hinting he knew the identity of the Glissade investor. Kyle will likely play it up and even exaggerate to get rid of Audra. However, I have to wonder if Victor will simply tell Audra about Kyle's report, or if he will take action. A long time ago, Victor said he had big plans for Audra. Meanwhile, Victor doesn't seem to care very much about Kyle's custody situation or any of his other complications. This is despite Harrison Abbott, Redding Musnell, being Victor's great-grandson, so I have to wonder if Victor will view Kyle's report as a betrayal rather than a protective measure. It is teased that during the week of September 9, Audra will get revenge on Kyle for his betrayal, so Victor clearly lets Audra know that he is aware. At the same time, will Audra get fired, or could Victor have another twist involved? How does Audra plan to get revenge? Will Audra target Kyle and Summer's truce? It certainly is possible. After all, Audra will want to hit Kyle where it hurts, which will be his son. In the glittering world of Geno City, secrets are currency and betrayals often come with a hefty price. No one knew this better than Kyle Abbott. He had danced on the line of loyalty too often, but this time he was about to pay the ultimate price for crossing Audra Charles. Audra was a woman of power, precision, and deadly determination. Her sharp mind was her greatest weapon, and she wielded it with a ruthless finesse that sent chills down the spines of those who dared to stand in her way. Kyle, unfortunately, was the latest victim of her calculated wrath. It all began when Kyle, in an attempt to regain control over his spiraling life, struck a deal with Audra. He thought he could play her game and come out unscathed, but Audra was no fool. She recognized the cunning in Kyle's eyes, and while she entertained his proposal, she always had a backup plan, one that would send shockwaves through the Abbott family. Audra had been climbing the corporate ladder, hungry for more influence within Newman Enterprises. Her partnership with Kyle seemed like the perfect alliance. Kyle, eager to break free from the shadow of his father, Jack, and desperate to prove himself after his marriage to Summer collapsed, was willing to do anything to climb to the top, even if it meant betraying those closest to him. Their partnership had started with mutual ambition, but greed has a way of corroding the best-laid plans. Kyle underestimated Audra's ruthlessness, and when he attempted to outmaneuver her in a business deal, things took a sharp and dangerous turn. Audra had warned him betrayal wouldn't be tolerated. Now it was time for Kyle to face the consequences. The betrayal unfolds. Kyle's treachery started when he began leaking crucial information to a rival company, hoping to weaken Audra's position at Newman Enterprises. He wanted to expose her vulnerability, intending to make his move to solidify his place in the Newman hierarchy. What Kyle didn't realize was that Audra was always 2 steps ahead. She had anticipated his betrayal from the moment he first approached her with his grand plans. Audra knew Kyle's ambition was his greatest weakness, and she used it against him. While Kyle fed information to the rivals, Audra planted false leads and misinformation, making it seem as though Kyle was orchestrating the ultimate corporate espionage. and when the trap finally closed in on him, Kyle had nowhere to run. Audra's retaliation was swift and brutal. First, she leaked just enough of Kyle's involvement to the press, painting him as a traitor not only to Newman Enterprises but to the Abbott family. The headlines were merciless. Kyle Abbott, a betrayal of blood and business. Jack Abbott, devastated by the news, confronted his son in a fiery showdown. The Abbott patriarch's rage was palpable, and for the first time in his life, Kyle realized the true cost of his ambition. But the public scandal was only the beginning of Audra's revenge. Audra's calculated revenge. Behind the scenes, Audra's real plan was in motion. She had compiled evidence of Kyle's underhanded dealings, and with a single move, she brought it to the Newman board. Victor Newman, never one to tolerate insubordination or threats to his empire, was furious. He may have once had some level of respect for Kyle due to his connection to the Abbott family, but now Kyle had crossed a line. Victor made sure Kyle would never work in the business world again, at least not in a position of power. Contracts were torn apart, alliances dissolved, and doors slammed shut. Kyle's career was in ruins, but Audra wasn't finished. Her retaliation extended beyond the corporate world. She targeted Kyle personally. Knowing his vulnerabilities, Audra skillfully manipulated Kyle's relationships, particularly his already strained bond with Summer. Summer, reeling from the news of Kyle's duplicity, couldn't believe that the man she once loved had fallen so far. Audra, ever the strategist, made sure Summer knew every sordid detail of Kyle's downfall, ensuring that any hope of reconciliation between them was thoroughly destroyed. Kyle, isolated and broken, tried to confront Audra, but she remained unshaken. In their final face-off, Kyle stormed into Audra's office, anger flashing in his eyes. "You think you've won," he growled, slamming his fist on her desk. Audra, cool and composed as always, simply smiled. "Kyle, you never stood a chance. This game was over the moment you decided to betray me. You wanted to play with the big dogs, but you forgot one thing. I'm the one who makes the rules." Her words hit him like a sledgehammer. He had been outplayed, and the worst part was he knew it. Audra had meticulously dismantled every piece of his life, leaving him with nothing but regrets. The price of betrayal. In the weeks that followed, Kyle's world continued to unravel. His career was in shambles, his reputation tarnished, and his family fractured beyond repair. Jack, unable to forgive his son's betrayal, distanced himself from Kyle, leaving him to pick up the pieces alone. Even Diane, Kyle's ever-supportive mother, struggled to defend her son's actions. She loved him, but she couldn't ignore the damage he had caused. Meanwhile, Audra's star continued to rise. With Kyle out of the picture, she secured her position at Newman Enterprises, winning Victor's reluctant approval. She had proven herself to be a force to be reckoned with, and now there was nothing standing in her way. Geno City was her playground, and she was ready to dominate it. Kyle, once so sure of his path, now found himself at a crossroads. He had paid the price for his betrayal, and it was steeper than he ever imagined. Stripped of everything he held dear, he had two choices: retreat into the shadows, or find a way to rise from the ashes. But in a town like Geno City, nothing stays buried for long. The question was, would Kyle Abbott learn from his mistakes, or would his quest for power lead him down an even darker path? Audra, on the other hand, was already looking toward her next conquest. She had taken down one Abbott, who would be next in her sights.